I can't believe we're finally here. South Park just dropped the season 28 finale, the last episode we're getting until next year. There's no official release date for season 29 yet, but most speculation points to Q3 of 2026. It's been a wild year to say the least. The show's gotten an incredible amount of both praise and criticism, but one thing you can't deny is that it's been a masterclass in rage baiting. I'll save my full thoughts on season 27 and 28 for the end of the video because right now we need to talk about this finale, the crap out. I'll start off by saying with so many unresolved plot lines this season, wrapping everything up in a single episode was never going to be easy, but I think they did a pretty solid job. We finally get the conclusion of the Trump and Satan baby storyline, some redemption for the depressing Jesus arc, and they even surprised us with an appearance from some of the most unhinged characters ever imagined by a human being.
How about we get someone with AIDS to pee in her eye socket so she dies all slow like?
And of course, it wouldn't be a proper Christmas episode without some catchy music. So let's jump into it. Here is the crap out.
That's why I wrote this holiday song with my big fake tits and my Botox lips.
The episode begins with Stan confiding in the school counselor about how hard life is getting for him. The school counselor is, of course, Jesus Christ, who is still possessed by modern Christianity. Stan tells him that everyone's changed lately and that what he and other people really need right now is a big Christmas miracle.
Sounds like some socialist bullshit to me, bro.
Stan presses him for falling into modern Christianity and basically pleads with him for help about his current living situation. The conversation gets interrupted by Jesus' girlfriend, Peggy Rockbottom. I feel like some people missed out on her name back in the Twisted Christian episode, but yeah, if this isn't Rockbottom, I don't know what is. Jesus then tells Stan that no Christmas miracle is going to happen and that he should just suck it up. I hope the irony of Jesus crushing hope for a Christmas miracle isn't lost on anyone. It cuts to the White House where we see Satan singing a cute Christmas song about him being very excited for his baby's birth.
Tiny dreams and tinsel glow, what's more special than a new baby at Christmas time?
A Fox News report is on in the background where we see the reporter say nobody knows how Satan's baby will be born, but everyone knows the crap out is coming. So South Park has been very willing to indulge in meta jokes this year, and this feels like another one. To crap out generally means to fail, to give up, to quit, often because of fatigue, stress, or being overwhelmed. To me, it feels like Matt and Trey are making a meta joke. They're wrapping up this storyline no matter what, even if it counts as a crap out. Maybe they weren't happy with any conclusion they could come up with, and that's why this storyline has been dragging for literally 7 episodes, so they feel like it's time to crap out. Or you could just say, no, actually it's a poop joke because Satan's a dude. That works too. Also, Satan's decorating the tree with a Labubu, which is pretty on brand considering we learned that those things are demonic. Mid-song, Satan realizes that Trump is nowhere to be found when he should be helping decorate the nursery. Satan is told that Trump and JD flew to Colorado to take care of some classified business, and that not even his inner circle know what's really going on. Satan then breaks down in tears, and I'm really tired of seeing him get abused like this. I think this is like the 4th episode of the year where I've talked about feeling genuine sadness for him.
Hormones, huh?
Bondi finds it strange that Trump didn't even tell her what's going on, so they come to the conclusion that it must be part of an extremely covert military operation.
Merry Christmas! Relax, yeah!
Look, I've been critical of the serialization of Trump this year, but nobody can deny that the relax guy line is going to live on for years. Definitely the best catchphrase that South Park has seen in a while. And I know Saddam said it first back in season 2, but they definitely perfected it through Trump this year. So Trump and JD are scouting out the police station as workers taking donations for the Salvation Army. JD assures Trump they just need to break Peter Thiel out, and they can take care of this baby once and for all. Mr. Mackey walks by and apologizes for not having any spare change. He gives them a very sad story about how he lost his job and can't afford anything due to tariffs and his healthcare being cut. Trump and JD just stand there, and there's an awkward pause before they wish him a Merry Christmas. It's just really perfect. Mackey walks away, and JD says they should hurry up with their plan before it's too late.
It's time to complete Operation Kill My Own Baby.
It cuts to Stan back at the retirement home where Peggy is doing charity work by singing for old people. She has a mysterious black eye and sings a song for her lover, Jesus Christ.
A Christian woman knows her place, so go ahead and punch me in the face.
The song's actually pretty catchy, definitely not as good as Cartman's love songs towards Jesus though.
Wanna get down on my knees and start pleasing Jesus.
I'm sorry, I have to reference my favorite episode anytime I get a chance, come on now. Stan is disgusted by this performance and leaves to go to the bathroom. He starts talking to the toilet, attempting to speak to an old friend of his. He begs for a Christmas miracle, and I'm sure what every South Park fan, including myself, thought was gonna happen was... Instead of Mr. Hanky, we actually get something much better. The greatest Christmas characters ever. The Woodland Critters. This is their first appearance in the show since season 11's Imagination Land trilogy, which is about 18 years old now. They have been in some South Park video games, and they've been referenced a time or two since then, but yeah, it's been a while since actually seeing them on the show. So Stan is just horrified that he summoned these critters. The last time he met with them, well, he didn't meet them, but he heard them sexually assaulting Kurt Russell. So yeah, he tries to run away, they catch up to him, and he asks what they want. Beavery tells him the exciting news of Satan, who's about to give birth to the Antichrist. Stan tells them that none of this even makes sense because they're literally just imaginary creatures that Cartman made up in his head.
Oh, are you really gonna overanalyze a crap out?
No, but I know a few South Park fans that definitely will. At first, Stan doesn't want to be associated with Satan and the Antichrist, but the critters promise him that this crap out is going to make everything better. And if this is Matt and Trey talking about the Butt Baby storyline, then I'd have to agree. Meanwhile, we see Satan doing laundry, despite, you know, being extremely close to labor. He notices a blue jockstrap in Trump's laundry that doesn't belong to him and wonders where it came from.
It's Vance.
Towley attempts to expose everything that Trump's been up to, but Satan doesn't understand him because he's all covered in milk.
It's not milk.
After cleaning him up, Satan demands that Towley tells him everything he knows. But first, Towley has one request, to get a little bit high, of course. So Towley exposes everything about how Vance doesn't want the baby to be born so he can be next in line for president, how he heard Trump admit that he didn't want the baby to be born either. So Satan wonders why Trump didn't just tell him this himself. Towley reminds him that a Republican president agreeing to an abortion is a very bad look. That part got a good chuckle out of me. Towley goes on to explain the entire storyline, from Pam Bondi finding out about JD's betrayal to Trump and JD making up over the betrayal and then eventually becoming lovers. By this point, Satan has heard enough and he declares that Trump will pay for what he did.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Let's go get that motherfucker.
In the next scene, Trump and JD infiltrate the police department disguised as part of the Salvation Army, saying they have food to give to the prisoners, Peter Thiel and Pete Hegseth, of course. Hegseth gets angry and says he doesn't need their food and that the president is on his way. You know, too stupid to realize Trump is in disguise. Meanwhile, Stan is walking with the Woodland Critters and wonders where they're going because they said Satan was in Washington, D.C. They tell him that was true, but now he's about to be in South Park. Stan questions how they could even know this, and the critters tell him to just get on board with the crap out already. Matt and Trey are covering their plot holes before anyone else can complain about them. I mean, they could have made some argument that the critters are close to Satan and demonic beings that can sense Satan's movement, but nah, they're not even trying, and I respect it, just fully committing to the crap out. So the critters mention that nobody will be able to stop the Antichrist except for Peter Thiel. Stan recognizes his name as the 6'7" guy, and the critters instantly get worried that he's in town. They then ask Stan what he's going to do about it. Stan replies that if he's going to get on board with something, he's going to need it to make at least a little bit of sense.
Well, okay, Susan Sontag, we'll make sure it all lines up perfectly for you.
So this is a joke a lot of people might not get. Susan Sontag is famous for overanalyzing a lot of stuff, like writing deeply intellectual essays about topics that most people wouldn't even give a second thought. So to me, this is a little jab at the people who watch South Park constantly looking for plot holes. Listen, I overanalyze South Park more than just about anyone on Earth, and even I understand that plot holes are never that serious in this show. There's a lot of fans who get upset if they messed up continuity from a 15-year-old episode, which is fine, but you should probably just make a Rotten Tomatoes account and become a movie critic instead. In the next scene, we learn that Trump put a walkie-talkie in the cake that they were giving to the prisoners, so now Trump and Teal can communicate.
Just stand by and we'll find a way to get you out so you can kill my baby.
Satan comes out of nowhere to confront Trump and JD. This is my new favorite Trump expression, by the way. Tally lets them know he told Satan every single detail about them.
Did Donald tell you he has genital warts?
Relax there, guy.
Stan and the woodland critters arrive on the scene, and Stan asks Tally what's going on. Tally replies that it's the most exquisitely woven tapestry of ideas he's ever seen. Another meta joke that works perfectly with the stoner Towley. So Satan finally breaks up with Trump, which is very liberating for all the Satan fans out there, and he tells Trump that this baby will be born. It's looking pretty bad for Trump by this point, but suddenly an unexpected ally shows up to save him, Jesus Christ. Jesus tells them that this is a great president who is just trying to protect the country from Harley riders.
What the hell happened to Jesus?
He's all Christian now.
Okay, so that's probably the best line of the episode. Satan tells Jesus that Trump is just a con artist and that he's going to be dealt with. Before Satan can do anything, Jesus teleports them away. The stress of the situation seems to put Satan into labor, so they decide to take him to the hospital. Satan urges the doctor to do this as quickly as possible because there are evil forces at work. The irony of Satan calling Jesus an evil force and having the viewers agree is something only South Park could pull off. Jesus takes Trump and JD to the police department to free Peter Thiel and Pete Hegseth. Thiel asks Trump how he pulled this off, and Trump replies that he got another Christian moron to help him out. Thiel tells everyone they need to stop the Antichrist soon because their time is running out.
Just so you know, I don't care if my asshole is filled with genital warts. I still love you.
Remember when JD Vance celebrated when he was first featured on a South Park episode? I wonder how he feels since then. I would pay a good amount of money to see Vance react to that line. Meanwhile, Satan is in the hospital opening up to everyone about how stupid he was falling for Trump. The critters and Stan try to comfort him, but Satan is in full doomer mode. He says he was willing to look the other way about Trump all because he wanted his Christmas miracle, to have the baby. Stan understands how Satan feels about longing for a Christmas miracle. But with Trump now having Jesus on his side, everybody is feeling like they can't win this battle. The optimistic critters acknowledge they might not have Jesus, but they have their own secret weapon, Stan Marsh. Trump and the gang arrive at the hospital ready to stop the Antichrist. What is the opposite of squad goals? Because this is a nightmare blunt rotation right here. Teal asks the receptionist where room 67 is, because of course, that's the number and Teal would know that. What else would it be? Stan, Tally, and the critters confront them before they can reach Satan's room. They demand that Stan moves out of their way, but he holds his ground. Stan says that nobody is helping him with his Christmas miracle, so the best thing he can do is try and help Satan with his. He's now fully on board with the crap out. Stan asks Jesus how he lost his Christmas spirit, and he can tell that Jesus just gave up and hit rock bottom.
I didn't hit her, okay? I mean, all right, maybe I did.
So after Jesus admits to domestic violence, he sees what Stan is saying now. He realizes he wants to change and get his faith back. So he decides to switch sides like Italy does whenever there's a world war, and Trump threatens to sue him. But Jesus accepts this threat head on, saying he's not going to be afraid anymore. In the middle of the conversation, the doctor comes in to deliver some really bad news.
It appears that at some point when nobody was watching, the baby hung itself and took its own life.
Out of all the theories I had, this was definitely not one of them. The doctor goes on to say that the baby got a hold of some bed sheets, about 2 minutes of footage went missing, and then it took its own life. Obviously referencing the Jeffrey Epstein situation, when you think about it, the entire story arc could be a reference to Jeffrey Epstein. The attempts to abort the baby could be a reference to the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up done by the Trump administration. I know some people are going to be upset that there wasn't a baby revealed like some people thought it would be Damien or, another mini JD Vance, but even smaller, RFK Jr., Epstein. Like, people had hundreds of theories out there. But hey, they warned us throughout the entire episode that it's a crap out. I don't know what we expected. Trump and JD start celebrating, of course, and it cuts to a Fox News report on the situation.
A little bit missing, and it killed itself.
The headline saying baby lacked mental toughness is the funniest thing ever. The news report concludes saying that the president will be holding a funeral for his unborn baby at the White House. We see Trump basically celebrating while everyone is sympathetically telling him sorry for your loss, which is just perfect. But then we get a not so hilarious scene of Satan, who just tragically lost his baby. It shows Satan packing up and leaving the White House, fully closing up the chapter of Satan and Trump for good. In the final scene, we see Stan at the retirement home where a worker is handing out mail, and surprisingly, Stan gets a letter as well. It's a letter from Jesus, who apologized to Stan for not listening to him properly and tells Stan to go to a certain address. Yep, finally a happy ending in a 2025 episode. Jesus has found a way to get Stan and his family his old house back. This makes me way happier than it should. We already knew Tegrity was over, but this is just that final confirmation that we're moving on to a new, or maybe even old era, depending on how you look at it, but it's beautiful. The episode then ends with Peggy singing her Christmas song and Stan having his holiday spirit back. So a depressing end for Satan, but a very optimistic and joyful end for Stan Marsh. This feels like Matt and Trey putting an end to the serialization. Satan got out of his toxic relationship, and the butt baby is no longer a plot point. Tally was freed from the prison at the White House. Jesus will almost certainly leave his role at the school, allowing Mackie to get his job back. They actually tied most of the plots up pretty well, in my opinion. They have cleared the blueprint, and it seems like we are getting a full reset for next year, which is very exciting. But this was overall a solid way to end things. Obviously, I'm a little disappointed there was no Cartman, Kyler, Kenny, but I also understand that none of those characters were needed to wrap up this plot. It had to be Stan, who is usually the character Matt and Trey speak to the audience through. So honestly, it's pretty dumb to even complain about that with the context of this season. I'm just a Cartman fanboy, so I can't help mentioning it. So now that we have seen every episode this year, overall, what did I think of South Park in 2025? Trey Parker and Matt Stone still got it. I enjoyed each and every episode, some obviously more than others. My favorite ended up being Turkey Trot. It just felt like the most classical South Park episode for me. I also really enjoyed Got a Nut and Walk is Dead. The season 27 premiere was absolutely elite, but I think a 9.3 rating on IMDb is very dumb. That would make Sermon on the Mount the 4th highest rated episode of all time. If you think that episode is better than Good Times with Weapons, Casa Bonita, and Osimo, are you even a real South Park fan? So yeah, Turkey Trot wins it for me based on rewatchability and being closer to the older South Park feel. The only negative thing I really have to say is that serialization sucks. I've already ranted about this in a few other videos, so I won't say much more. I actually adored Trump and JD's characters, their personalities, their character design. The problem was them getting shoved in your face every single episode. South Park is just so much better when you aren't waiting on a storyline for 5+ episodes. I won't lie, I feel a lot of relief knowing that season 29 is going to start fresh. Despite hating serialization, I really think that Matt and Trey did a great job with the other subplots, and it made it interesting enough for me to enjoy every episode. To get more personal, I'm really excited to go back to making better content. My videos are at their best when I have time to research every little thing about an episode. My most popular video on my channel, where I covered all about Mormons, I literally studied Mormonism for like a week straight before I even felt comfortable making that video. And with the new episode releases, you just can't do that. The YouTube algorithm rewards speed over quality, and I think that's pretty sad, but it kind of makes sense because as the days go on, there's less hype over the episode that just released, so if you wait a week, you're gonna have less people watching it, even if it's a much higher quality of a video. With all that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed my coverage of the season. I tried to make it as entertaining as possible. It's been a fun journey, and you can expect higher quality content starting again early next year. As always, thank you guys for watching.